Sometimes it's not a bush that needs trimming, but rather an unruly hedge that has vines growing through it. Either way, you're going to need a tool for that.
Hello, I'm Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Ego Power Plus Brushless Hedge Trimmer HT2411. That particular number refers to the hedge trimmer that comes with both the battery and a standard charger. They do sell the hedge trimmer here as a separate standalone with no battery. Do that, it'll be slightly cheaper. You are getting this trimmer primarily because, well, either one, you've already bought into the Ego product line and you're building out your tool set. If you're just looking at this as a standalone trimmer without purchasing into the Ego product line, it's still a very good trimmer, but it benefits more from if you're purchasing other Ego products because, well, they have the standard battery that goes through everything. The overview for the trimmer here is that it is 42 inches long from the very back all the way to the tip of the blade there. Your cutting blade is a 24-inch blade that has a cut capacity of 1 inch. Now, in my case, I am not super outdoors guy. I don't have a lot of things that this would normally be considered for trimming. However, I do have several bushes that need to be trimmed back. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this in segments and we're gonna zoom in on the back end here. What we have here is actually the handle portion as well as our battery. To remove the battery, it is very simple. Press on the release, it pops out and pulls out. You'll notice that the trimmer actually can stay flat even without the battery, which some of the other Ego products have a little difficulty doing. The battery, if you get the combo pack that you get, is the 56 volt 2.5 milliamp battery. However, with the trimmer, it is going to be the old style of, hey, do I have enough power? Yes or no. That's it. You don't have the gauge on this. That might change in the future with different model numbers of this, but right now you only have a, is this enough? Now this is the lighter battery that you get with a lot of the Ego products. You can put, again, because they're interchangeable, the larger 5 amp battery in here. It will make it a little heavier and a little harder to wield. However, admittedly, with what I use it for, the 2.5 here is perfectly fine. In fact, I take the 2.5 that I have with my string trimmer and then just after I do all my edging, I pop it into here and then quickly do what little trimming I have to do. So I like the fact that I have extra batteries for this and the other Ego products, but was not totally necessary with this. I'm just gonna put the battery aside for a moment so that we could talk about the rest of the handle here. So again, you have your release trigger right there. The back end here is made up of the standard Ego gray, green, black motif. The handle right here is a slightly rubberized handle, meaning that you'll have a grip on this, which is good. Right there, that is actually the trigger for the hedge trimmer itself. Now this is a 3-point system, meaning you cannot actually actuate the hedge trimmer without having 3 points of contact. You have your lock mechanism up here and then a trigger and then your safety right there. So if I turn that slightly, you'll notice that that's green trim right there. You can grab it on either side or up at the top, but you need to have 3 points of contact before it will actually turn itself on. Now, the one problem I have with the 3 points of contact, while really good for safety features, it does make it a little tricky depending on how you're trying to angle this. I do appreciate that the large bar here will allow you to grab in several different locations. Makes it a little tricky sometimes, although you probably should always have 2 hands on your hedge trimmer at all times. Moving down, a small little safety shield right there, just in case you have anything flying back at you. And then we move on to the actual blade itself. As I said before, this is a 24-inch blade, dual action, so you have teeth that go both this way and this way. So you have that double cutting action, which is very nice. I like the fact that they have the actual blade there, that the teeth go in is yellow, so it makes it easy to keep track of compared to some other things. And we're gonna bring it all the way down here to the tip because I actually like, again, the fact that the blades or the teeth don't come all the way to the end. You actually have this cap, so in case you happen to on something, you don't have to worry about hurting it. Now, I know I'm touching this, but I'm gonna state I do not have the battery in this. Keep that in mind. You never wanna be touching this, even if you have a 3-point system. Don't touch these. That's dangerous. There also is right there, kind of hard to see, but there is a nail hook right there, and there's a sheath that goes over this, which I'll show you in a moment, but you can actually hang this up on your wall to get it out of the way and off the floor of your shop. Now, if we bring this over right here, this is where the mechanism for the blade actuation is actually hidden away, and simply by removing 6 screws, the screws themselves are actually Torx, so you're gonna have a special wrench to do that. But you can remove that, a little bit of oil, and you keep this maintained. The blades themselves are also supposed to be designed in a way that makes this easily serviceable and has the ability to be sharpened. Now, myself, I've been using this for over 1 season, so I got this last year and then used it for the entirety of my season and am doing the review of it now. I have yet to have to actually service this. If we pull back a little bit here, as I said, it comes with a plastic sheath for the blade itself. Simply place over. You may need to give the sides a little squeeze in order for that to go all the way home. And then the sheath itself, also might be a little tricky to see, has a cutout so that you can hang this on the wall. Now I'm gonna bring this a little closer because I wanna state that the sheath and the tip of the blade have to line up perfectly, or if you do something like that and don't notice, your plastic sheath is up here and then your hole in your actual blade is there, and try and hang it up, well, the weight of this will have it fall off the wall. So I have done that once actually myself, and I could say it wasn't more than 24 inches to the floor, but it did take a little hit and it worked perfectly fine because I did that really early on in the season. Now, one of the things with the battery-powered Ego line is that it is super quiet compared to its gas-powered competitors. The one thing I will say about the trimmer, it's probably quieter than the gas-power equivalent of it. However, I've never had a gas-powered trimmer. Still working on, being Mr. I own a house now and have to maintain everything myself guy. So I never had to have a gas-powered one. What I will say though is of all the Ego power tools that I've had so far, this is actually the noisiest, and I'm including the snowblower in that. Let me give you a demonstration of what I'm talking about sound-wise. Sound test, Ego power trimmer. Are gas-powered equivalents noisier? Most definitely. Is this still terribly noisy? Yes and no. As you heard, it's noisy but not terrible. And that is partially due to that high-efficiency brushless motor, which has great runtime and low vibration, which helps to extend the motor's actual usable life. Again, this is the only product like this I've used before. Haven't used a gas power equivalent. I will say, even with shoulder issues, being able to move this around, as long as you're using the included, if you bought the package deal, battery is not terrible. It does not hurt to actually use for extended periods of time, even though something like this, you just do what you have to do really quickly and you're done. With that, obviously, if I'm going to be talking about a tool, I would have had to have used the tool. So let's use this as a jumping off point to actually see this in action. I am going to say this was filmed last season. Never used something like this before. Feel free to mock my form in the comments section below because I had no idea what I was doing. I will say I did try this on several different types of shrubbery, including some ornamental grasses that I tried using my Ego string trimmer on, which was not able to actually cut through. However, this, no problem, as you might imagine, and we'll see. Coming back, we're just gonna slide our battery into place. If you've had any Ego products, there's a set of rails. You simply line them up and click into place. If you're not trying to do that for the camera, it won't be as difficult. That helps to balance this out because of the heavier battery. As you see, I'm gonna hold it at this point and you'll see it naturally wants to tilt back, which in some cases is good because you don't wanna have to heft this all the time. If it's already naturally going back, it makes it easier to maneuver your blade around. One of the big things with Ego products, they are not cheap. Part of that is you are paying for the interchangeable battery technology that you get with Ego. The trimmer here is no different. If you get the combo pack like I did, which comes with the trimmer itself, the battery, and the standard charger, you're going to be spending around $200 depending on when you are watching this. It might come down in the future. If you just get the trimmer itself, again, that's going to be much lower than the combo pack because Ego products, the majority of the price is actually tied to the battery pack and not the tool itself. I've had lots of Ego products, as you can see over there, and I love them. I'm not gonna lie. I know that some people feel that the quality assurance with them is a little hit or miss. So far, every Ego product that I have purchased, I have had no problems with. They do have an extended warranty as long as you register them through Ego's website, so you should do that anyway. I have been using Ego products for at least 3 years now, and I love them, and I love the fact that I can use the batteries for every single one of them. I don't have to worry if this dies. I don't have to time my charging. I just pull this out, grab one of the other batteries I have, and I'm still good to go. Again, something like this, depending on the size of your yard and what you're using it for, chances are this will be more than enough to get your job done. With that being said, I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.
If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.